Did you get troubled by the president's remarks yesterday on Air Force One? It was part of a gaggle, sir, in which he seemed to once again equate the violence that happened in Charlottesville, Virginia, equally to both sides, on the left and the right, with the neo-Nazis and the Klan and these leftist groups. He was referring at the time, as you know, to his conversations with South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who was a little chagrined. He told me, speaking as an African American, that he found those remarks inappropriate. This is prior to the president's comments yesterday on Air Force One. Do you?
Well, I think the president is very willing to call out those individuals who sort of instigated the whole thing in the first place, as well as those who reacted to that instigation. Now,
do you think he called them out enough, Dr. Carson? I mean, that was the rap against him, that he didn't.
I personally, when he said all of these groups, thought that he meant all of those groups. You know, for some people, all of those groups only means all the groups on the other side. But, you know, again, we need to get away from parsing everything to make it fit, you know, our sense of what's valued, and ask ourselves what is helpful to us as a nation. And, you know, this whole Charlottesville situation deserves a serious discussion. You know, not just barbs from this side or barbs from that side, but let's ask ourselves, do we want to get rid of the history of our nation? Do we want to put footnotes on it? Do we want to have an opportunity to explain what went right and what went wrong to our children so that they don't make the same mistakes again? Do we just want to hide it and say that we're wonderful people? You know, we need to have that discussion, because other nations who have obliterated their history have never seemed to benefit from that. So, at the same token, we need to have a discussion about slavery, slave owners, versus people who were anarchists and were trying to overthrow our government, and how we should look at one versus the other.
Well, do you think
if we don't have those discussions, we're going to keep being in this situation.
I'm sorry, sir. Then do you think statues to the Confederacy, there's a move afoot now, just remove them, take them all down, they're a blight on our past? You're a prominent administration figure, you're a prominent African American. How do you feel about that?
Again, I feel that those are things that need to be discussed. That's why we have local governments.
Do those statues bug you?
Me personally, no, they don't bug me personally. You know, I'm a big picture type of person. You know, I don't tend to get bogged down with things that perhaps tend to drive other people nuts, because there's so many bigger issues. And, you know, as I was saying when this whole Charlottesville thing started, you know, you've got Kim Jong-un over there with nuclear weapons, who also needs money, who probably wants to sell those things to people who are not going to be deterred by the mutual destruction argument, who would be happy to try to destroy us even if we destroyed them. You know, we need to be thinking about that. We need to be thinking about our electric grid, the fact that you could explode a nuclear weapon in our exoatmosphere and destroy our grid and put us into a helpless situation. Doesn't mean that those other things aren't important, but let's focus.